welcome back to season 2 of the Vox Talks. Absolutely delighted that you could join us today for this Vox Talk. And just a quick reminder that the Vox Talks are all about trying to inspire the next generation of Hot House pupils. So out of every 100 children, maybe 97 go on to careers outside of music. And those kids are as important as the ones that do the music. And we want to try and show you the value of having a balanced diet. So a bit of music, a bit of sport, and hopefully that there's a lot of transferable skills which will go over into a successful career. Which is why I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest. The guy is an absolute legend. He was a ridiculously good musician, a brilliant tenor sax player, one of the nicest guys I've ever known. And actually, you will meet his brother at another one of these. His name is Mr. Joe Hoblyn, and he's now a golf pro. Big round of applause for Joe. Oh, hi, Joe. It's great to see you, mate. I'm sorry about the super big build-up. You know, it's Christmas, and it's one of those times where it's really great to see everybody. And this is a good time for me because, you know, I literally know that your bro's in a great space. He's a great guy, really happy. And it sounds like you're doing well too.
Yeah, doing really well. I was going to say, on that intro, normally better to lower the expectations first, then you might be pleasantly surprised. You've gone in big there.
What I love about you guys, and you know, even your little bro and your sister, you're always so humble and nice people, and I think that's, you know, that shines through on everything that you've ever always done. But you know, for the people who have tuned in today, could you tell them a little bit about what you do and your journey, about how you've got here?
Sure, yeah, so I mean, I'm now 28, back in the UK now, but I've spent the last 5-6 years out in the Far East in China, working as a golf coach. So been a professional golfer, for 6-7 years.
Wow.
And that was following a degree in the University of Birmingham on golf management. And after that, I just thought, let's just get out into the deep end and get out straight to China. So finished the degree and went out there. And then now, after a bit of coaching career there, I've decided I've packed that in and I'm going to do a bit more playing.
Great.
So going from coaching full-time now into thinking, let's earn money purely by playing golf. So I've spent the last few months over lockdown practicing a lot with the idea of getting good enough so that I can just basically earn money by playing golf. So that's the current project.
Incredible. I'm super amazed. I mean, I know China is a massive market for golf as well. Like, as a growth industry, it's huge over there.
Yes. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, I guess as a percentage of people who actually play, it's quite slim, but the people who do play, it's in the top, micro percentage of wealth. So it's quite an expensive market, and it's good for golf coaches out there. So, had some good times.
Yeah, very cool. I mean, before you went to the University of Birmingham, you went to a local comprehensive school and you did some regular A-levels. I mean, how did that work?
Just the high school here, Ecclesbourne in Duffield, and then did the sixth form there. So that was just regular A-levels. Got into uni just with A-levels, really. And then I also had to get a handicap of 4. Golf handicap of 4, so that was another requirement. But luckily got all that in time in my final year of sixth form.
Well, I mean, it probably helped that there's a very, very good golf club just on your doorstep, Chevin Golf Club. And, you know, a bit of a shout out to your old man, you know, your dad, who's actually club captain this year.
Correct.
So it must run in the...
The funny thing is there, so because of how COVID affected everything, they've allowed him a second year, so he'll be doing it next year too, which I think has never happened before. So
ever?
He's actually pretty buzzing about that. Yeah, and I don't think that's happened. It's obviously these unforeseen circumstances, so he's got a double.
Oh man,
double bill.
That is fantastic, really good. Tell me a little bit, I mean, obviously we know you because you used to play in one of our bands, so just give us your little bit of potted history on what you did with our music. So when did you start with band?
When did I start? I mean, no idea what the year was, but I remember in Ecclesbourne. So I played clarinet.
That's right.
In Ecclesbourne. And I think like one of these concerts once in Ecclesbourne, maybe Max Johnson and... is it Matt Hill, the baritone?
Yeah. Do you remember Matt?
Yeah, so those guys were like, because they're way older than me, and they were like, Joe, you should come to Emijo with your clarinet. Like, we need more clarinet players. They obviously just wanted me, like, you obviously didn't need more clarinet players, but they wanted to get me there.
Yeah.
So I've gone along to Emijo 3, and then, done clarinet for a bit, and then eventually just transitioned to sax, because you realise I don't know, it's a better music for jazz, isn't it, really? And then just, I guess, slowly built my way up the bands as I enjoyed it more and more and got better.
Yeah.
Worked up to the MJ1, and yeah, I guess then it's a shame to leave, really. Like, when I went to uni, obviously you've got to leave at some point.
Got to move on.
Like, yeah.
But
I mean, guess it was about three or 4 years, wasn't it?
It was good, yeah, and you ended up as lead tenor, and it was what we loved about it was the fact that you did music, and you were great at music, but then you were also you equally did the sport. You know, you did. I don't think it was just golf. I think you did quite a lot of cricket. You know, the whole family were into sports, and you know, I know your mum and dad were very keen that you did a balanced diet, as well as doing your academic stuff to get there, and it just shows that you could manage the two things at the same time. I mean, would you say that there are things from your sports and music days that you've been able to transfer into the you know, the golf career?
I'd say, yeah, things from music going into sport. I guess like the main thing that relates to golf is the like the pressure you put on yourself. So if you're performing like on the stage, you know, you're building up to a certain that date of the gig or whatever it is, or that performance, and there's a lot of practice gone in, so you're building yourself up, you know, practicing a lot, and you know you can do it, but there's the anxiousness about, oh, is it going to come out well? And it's the same, I think, as when you got maybe a competition date coming up, you practice so much, you know you can do it, and it's about like pulling it off on the day kind of thing. So I think there's a lot of parallels there. Yeah, that pressure almost of the day and pulling it off.
It's like performance management almost, isn't it? They're giving you the idea that you know, you really, like in music, you've got one chance at that solo, and just like in golf, maybe in your tournament, I might be putting words into your mouth, but you've got one tee off on the first hole, you know, and you've put all that time in, and so there is a critical moment where it all comes together. Right. And like, I think music has helped with that, and you know, sport helps with that. And if you were to go into another industry and work with it, and you had to do a presentation or a critical report, those things would be valuable skills which you could transfer. So.
Yeah, sure. I think any time you've got that, like, the butterflies in your stomach, right? Like, you put yourself out the comfort zone, it's all good.
Yeah.
Like character building, and it's only going to be helpful.
That is the key. That is absolutely the key, character building. And I think part of the thing what music does very well is it helps knocks off the corners of young people who are getting, you know, have to learn how to get on with people. I don't know what it's like with you when you go on the tour and you go on a golf tour to different things, but there'll be different guys turning up to play and your tournaments. I'm imagining that you'll get the cocky guy turn up, you'll get the guy who's really quiet, the guy who's just like the scientist, you know, and you have to be able to get on with them in the clubhouse. And you know, I mean, would you say there's some parallels there with learning how to get on with your fellow bandmates as well as your job?
Yeah, I guess there is. I think your bandmates, it's more like your close-knit, it's a close-knit group, isn't it? Because people you're going to rehearse with, you know, week in, week out. I guess it depends how serious you get, but in a golf tournament, I mean, you're having to put up with them for 4 hours maybe, and then if you don't get on with them, you can never see them again. But yeah, I guess some people will have, you know, a mindset which doesn't quite match with yours, so sometimes they can be a bit off-putting. So I guess you've got to be really clear on yourself and what you're about, so you can almost just, if they've got something, maybe they've got a really negative mindset or something, and you've got to learn how to kind of like ignore that and keep on doing your own.
That's really good. I mean, great advice as well, just to be, you know, learn to let things go over you and choose which bits you want to engage with.
Just control what you can control, isn't it, really?
Yeah, brilliant advice. And I think all that sports psychology stuff, there's a real similarity between that and music psychology. So
yeah, I'd say so.
And really, really good for people who are interested in that to understand that it works like those lines. And a lot of the things we ask our musicians that come back onto these talks is, was there a moment, like an inspirational moment, a seminal sort of light bulb moment, where you thought, I just want to do that? You know, for me, for example, it was the first time I went to Ronnie Scott's and I saw the Count Basie auction. I was like, I just want to do that. I'm imagining, was there something like that with golf, or was it a slow burn and you really, you know, it just grew on you and you didn't want to live without it?
Good question, really. I mean, with golf, I originally didn't like it. I guess as a kid, I'd gone to play because my dad played and he'd take me there, and it was always cold and you weren't very good, so it wasn't that enjoyable. But I guess it was over time, as I realised, I've got a mate, Jack, who played too, and we'd seen Tiger Woods playing. I guess we were inspired by Tiger more than anything, and then the fact that I had a mate there who was playing, you got nothing else to do, so you're like, oh, let's go play, and then as you get better and better, you start competing against each other, and that competitive drive, I guess, makes it more enjoyable. I guess, and then the better you get, the more it opens up doors to other things like all of this competition you can enter, or you know how it goes. It's just snowballs, isn't it?
It does, and it's the potential, it's the future, it's the what might happen is really good. I'm thinking, who would get up on a rainy day like today, maybe travel somewhere for a competition to play a competition which they don't know what will happen to that. It's just like me. Who would get up, get in a car at 4:00 in the morning to drive to a recording session and spend all day? I think music and sport, the people who do it and love it will never think of that. They'll just think, I want to do the actual, it's the end, it's the potential, it's the future. Whereas, maybe if you're in a cushy job and you're just turning up every day and you're going into an office, that's something that, people might miss. So, what does the future hold for Joe? Is it going to be the next Tiger Woods, or is it going to be, just carving out a career in the golf scene?
I'd say my current ambitions are to just get as good as I can be, and the dream is to earn a living from purely playing. Whether that's going to be a world beater like Tiger Woods level, it's obviously it's possible as long as my mindset is in that place for the next few years. It's just the longer I'm in it, the better you'll get. And it's funny because a year ago I didn't see myself going down a playing path. But now I am, so I guess your motivations and your ambitions change all the time, so I guess I'll get as good as long as I stay on this kind of on this track, if you know what I mean. I hope that's probably not said very well, but...
No, I really get it. The longer you're in it, the more you want to do it, and you want to do it the longer more that you're in it. I really get that. And if kids...
And I guess the point is, I think your ideas and your motivations do change over time, just on new information, you get different experiences. Suddenly you're like, oh, I want to do that, which is kind of a light bulb moment I had about a year ago when I was thinking, actually, I've had enough of coaching, I want to go and play more. And suddenly that, over time, developed into a stronger thing where I thought, right, I'm leaving the job and I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, and, and nowadays with COVID, this is the perfect time to let those aspirations change, aren't they? And when I'm thinking about our kids thinking, what might I do for the future? It's your brother said, it's not a sprint to get to the end. It's a long journey. We're doing lots of different things. Your career can take lots of nuances. We can do different things. Don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up. But enjoy those moments. And when the opportunity presents itself, have a go. It's not a bad thing.
I think definitely. And go along and follow basically whatever you're feeling at that time. I'm not big on, I guess, long-term goals, because I don't know what I'm going to be thinking in a year or two's time, but right now I've got an idea, so just go and do it, and then by doing these new experiences it'll lead to kind of ideas of, oh, now I know what I want to do. You open doors by acting, don't you? But you can't really make a plan for 5 years, because if I made a plan for 5 years 2 years ago, it would have been completely off the mark for what I actually want to do now.
I get you.
It wasn't on my radar to become a kind of better player like I am now, so...
No, I think it's fab. Actually, and we have got a couple of kids who really love golf in the ensembles at the moment. What would be the advice about, if they wanted to get into golf a bit more seriously, is it just the fact that you have to go to a club and become part of the life of the club? What would be your advice to them?
Certainly enjoy it first. Only go to the club and play and practice if you want to. I've dealt a lot with parents in China and here, and when parents are forcing kids to do stuff they don't want to do, the chances are they're going to drop out. So I guess from a parenting point of view, it's obviously designing it around the kid and what they want. But advice for kids, I guess, is spend as much time as you can, get help when you need it, from a good coach, and just enjoy the process really, and understand that it, like Ben said before, you said that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't get too hard on yourself. Just do little baby steps every day to get better, and after 10 years you'll be ace, right?
No, you will be ace. You really will be ace. And there's so many parallels with music as well about not trying to go to the right coach at the right time. And go to the right teacher at the right time. And there's no one person with every single answer. As long as you enjoy it and you're happy and you're trying to go in the right place, you tend to get to the correct destination for you, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. And like we said before, you don't always know what that is, but just follow. I guess it sounds like a cliche, but follow your heart at the time, and then it will lead you to know what you want almost.
Yeah. I mean, I'm loving the way how in touch with your instant psyche you seem to be. I think it's really good, man. It's really good. It's like it's almost zen, the level of where you're working at. Well, we had a question. We had a question come through from one of our young bass players, a guy called Alistair, and he said, if you could go back to yourself when you were 14, 15, what bits of advice would you give yourself then?
14, 15. I don't have a good answer straight away.
It's trying to work out, trying to think back to what we were like when we were 14, 15. But, you were sort of like joining band, you were in there, you were at school, you were quite a happy guy. It was...
From a band point of view, like, I was always mega impressed by people who could solo really well. Like Ben Ashby, he just made most of the tenor solos, and then some of the guys on trumpets were just such good players, right? And I think for me, I felt, because when I just joined MH01, the band was so strong, and I was like the weakest one there when I first joined. I was like, wow, and I almost saw that, I think, unattainable. But from like a point of view of what I tell myself then, it's like you can obviously learn that. You can learn how to solo if you just, like I said about golf, find a good coach.
Yeah.
And they'll guide you through the steps, and actually it's not that hard to get, a little bit good, is it? Just get the basics down. I'm actually better at soloing now than I was then, because we didn't talk about this, but I've done a lot more music the last 2 years.
Have you?
Like,
what?
Since I was a kid. Yeah.
Tell us more. Are you still playing at the moment then?
Yeah, I've done a lot of practice in lockdown. My piano's a lot better. Like, I never played piano as a kid, but I'm okay at piano now. In the last 2 years, I've been doing way more on like soloing for sax.
Yeah.
Too, and so I'd be way better at like crafting a solo now than I was then. Then I just absolutely winged it, and I remember a few nightmares in gigs when I didn't know what I was doing at all. But I guess the advice to myself then would be just have the courage, I guess, to ask for help, and just learn it, because it's what I wanted to be able to do at the time. Like I could, if I could solo well, you'd be so proud of yourself. But I think I just maybe was afraid of failing.
Yeah, I think
so I just didn't ask.
It's really strange how we put our own blocks in there, isn't it? You want to do that, and you can do it, but then somehow we find a way of stopping ourselves from accessing that bit of information.
Well, I think it's like you say. I think if you are quite a good, because I was always quite a good player. I was good at reading and everything, a good musician, and people always tell you, oh, you're good at this, and almost you've got that personality that people give to you. And you're almost like, oh, I don't want to do something I suck at, because then people might not believe that anymore. So you almost guard against looking crap.
Yeah, absolutely. Really interesting. I mean, I feel like
that probably is the one thing.
No, I'm with you. I feel like a lot of people go through the same sort of process, and there's a lot of kids now where that will resonate with them completely. They go and work, they go and step into a band, and then the band sounds amazing, and they can't wonder how they'll ever get there. But they want to get there, but they're a bit too nervous or anxious to ask to have a go. They don't know where to go for the help, and And I think if there's one thing that music and sport can teach young people, is that ability to communicate. To go and say, hello, can you help me? You can talk to your mate next to you. You can talk to your mentor. You can talk to the coach. You can talk to parents, friends, family. Getting into the habit of communicating is a really healthy part.
I think something there you just said, it's interesting. So if I was coaching like a group of kids with golf, for example, or music would be the same. If one of them comes up to me and asks the question, I'm absolutely ecstatic about that, because I want to see that the kids are passionate. But I think looking back to when I was a kid, maybe I was thinking, oh, the teacher or John, he doesn't want to listen to my questions, I'd be thinking, oh, it's a waste of time for him. But actually, I'm sure you're the same. If people ask you a question about getting better, you're loving it, right?
I am loving it. I mean, it is the only reason why I do what I do. And to be honest, nowadays I do 12 hours worth of office work with CEOs all the way around the country, and then maybe half an hour of seeing a kid play music at the end of the day. It's really bizarre, and that is the best bit, And
Right.
When somebody comes up and says, how does it all work? I don't get it. What's going on?
Right.
That's the moment that you look for. And I realise now that my grandparents are in exactly the same way. If I go and say to my grandma and granddad, I don't know, what do I do? I don't understand how I'm supposed to be able to pay the mortgage and work really hard and do all of that. People above us have always got that experience, and I've never come across anybody who doesn't want to share, because we're all working towards a better society.
Yeah,
so.
Everyone wants to kind of pass on their knowledge, don't they? So I think kids now, they can take advantage of that with you, for sure, and anyone else who's staff there, definitely.
It's good. It's really good. And, to be honest, with the YouTube, with the University of Everything, with YouTube, we feel that we're losing a little bit of connection with the kids. They'll just go digital first. It's almost like digital by default. And I think there is real value from kids coming to a group, or kids having a lesson, or kids coaching for the sport, of having that face-to-face interaction, just to make, get them used to communicating. So,
Sure.
I think this has been brilliant. Thanks, Joe. If any of the people want to get in touch and send you a question, is there a way that they can get in touch? Are you on LinkedIn, for example?
LinkedIn, you can find me, so Joe Hoblyn. I don't know if I've got a link to that directly, but Instagram I use a lot, so that I'm just Joey Hobbs on there.
Brilliant. And then hopefully if there's any kids out there that are just interested in your story or journey, or want to follow you in your development with golf, a lot of kids are following people just to see how they do it and how they navigate their lives. That would be a really nice way. And if I get any questions from anybody, I'll send them through. And then maybe you can get back to me at some point in the future.
Yeah, awesome, mate.
Thanks, Joe. It's been really good, and I'd like to, on behalf of everybody at Hot House, say how proud we are of you and what you've managed to achieve, and really hope we get to see you sometime in the future soon. And for everybody else listening, we've got some killing shows on this season, including Louis Dowdeswell, John Waff from the 1975, Joe's brother Ben, the hero of the moment. So make sure you subscribe, and we'll look forward to seeing you all again. Thanks very much, guys. See you again. Bye now.
Thanks, John. Bye-bye.